Okay, so welcome to the
Coming soon.
podcast. Chris, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Chris.
Yeah, that's Chris.
Is it time for the longer introductions now, or do we want to say something?
I guess
who
we can
are?
just do the introductions now.
Okay.
Oh, did you have?
I was thinking we could say.
But-
So what's this podcast, Will? Why does this exist? What the heck even is this? Why are we here?
Yeah, well, that's the question. So we thought about this idea several years ago.
Years ago.
This has been in the making for quite a long time, and I'm glad that it's finally manifesting itself. I have a list here of things that we kind of plan on talking about in the podcast
Today, or just like in general?
or just in general.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
just general topics that we will probably dive into at some point. And we'll probably have more that we explore, but for now we have like technology, gaming. I think a big kind of talking point for us is going to be a lot of theology and philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
At least that's the kind of stuff that I'm kind of excited to get into
Yep.
on the more serious side of things.
Me too.
And I think that's kind of. Did you have any more topics that we were talking about for
No.
potential discussions, or I think that was about it
Yeah.
for now.
Yeah.
So we did come prepared a little bit today with some content that we've watched from Jordan Peterson, but we'll get into that later. Is there anything else that
Yeah.
you think we could?
I guess before we just introduce ourselves, this is so weird. It like feels so professional now.
It does.
I like it.
Yeah.
It's finally here. Yeah, but basically, yeah, like a few years ago, more than a few years ago. So we're 25 now, both of us. You're 25.
I think it was like 5 years ago.
Yeah, I think it was 5 years ago during COVID. It was before I left for Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
So that was 2020 when COVID had like just begun. I had come home and finished my undergrad remotely, and so in my introduction you'll find out I'm a Christian. I studied theology, hoping to enter the ministry. That's more of my story, which I can get into later. And so Will was interested in doing a Bible study. I think it was you who suggested it, or I suggested it. I don't even know.
I can't remember which one of us initiated it,
But
but we were definitely both interested.
Yeah, we both had very brief discussions about like me being a Christian and Will not being one, and then one of us asked for like a more long form kind of official just discussion, not even like a debate or anything, just like sit down intentionally with some topics at hand and talk about them. And some of those videos exist online.
Yeah.
Right, Will?
Which are kind of cringe to go back and
Oh,
look at.
but that's how it is. That's what life is like.
That's what it's supposed to be.
Exactly.
I understand.
This will probably be the same at some point. And that just like was the very birth of the idea of starting a podcast, right?
Yeah.
And then like over the years, as me and Will have just gotten closer and we're just such close friends now. I would definitely say Will's one of my best friends.
I would reciprocate that notion.
Good. Over the years, we've just continued those discussions. We've always just like toyed with the idea of a podcast. And as far as I'm looking at it, and we've talked some, like my hope is like just having this kind of open discussion, somewhat debate kind of format is just like a foundation for respectful discussion, open discussion, free exchange of ideas, especially right now in the way that the world is.
Yeah.
And I think basically it's like, I guess what I'm trying to say is really just for us, at least that's how I'm looking at it. Like,
Yeah.
we are not hoping to reach like a broad audience. Like, I'm enjoying doing this. I think Will's enjoying doing this.
Oh yeah.
So like if this gets no viewers ever and like we just get to hang out and like talk and have a cool archive of our conversations, then I'd be happy with that.
Yeah, me too.
But if one or two people can benefit from our conversations, then that would be pretty cool too.
Yeah.
But if not, then I wouldn't mind myself. This is just a really kind of a fun passion project of ours, I guess.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's really the best way to put it, is a
Yeah.
passion project. I like what you said though about the like free exchange of ideas and how especially today, I mean, things are just so heated up globally, politically, and socially that, I mean, even between two friends, it seems hard to even wrap your idea around two people discussing things that are so polarizing, but to remain still respectful and open-minded is, I think, one of the most important traits that you could have
Yeah.
as a person, and it's also probably one of the most difficult to obtain and to learn. And I think that you know, it's just kind of human nature to, you know, be really defensive of
Yeah.
the ideas that you have, and like that's just going to be true for everyone, for every idea. So I think this is a really special podcast and opportunity to kind of break the mold on that,
Yeah.
and start something that's just such a commodity now, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that was a really good way of putting it. Just really trying to break into something new and to have some good conversations.
Yeah.
So
For sure. I guess I'll say something really quickly, and then I can introduce myself, just like a 2-3 minute, like really quick introduction, like who I am, where I'm coming from, like why I'm interested in this stuff, and you can do the same.
yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, I guess I was just gonna say that. Yeah, like I mean, those discussions in 2020, they really impacted me and affected me a lot, and I learned a lot from them, about my own faith, about my own beliefs, my own ideas, and I think that the same happened for Will. I don't know, but it certainly deeply affected me, and just being willing to have those sort of engaging conversations with people who are very different from me, a few other people who were on those as well, and that was a really formative thing for me, especially after studying for 4 years in undergraduate with a lot of people who thought very similarly to me. Not like uniformity, but just everyone who was a Christian, basically. I went to a Christian college, not university. But I guess I could say why that was now. So hi, everybody. My name is Chris. I am 25 years old. I am born and raised in Durham, North Carolina. We can cut that out if we don't want to talk about locations. I think Durham is non-identifiable enough, though. Well, not really. You can just look me up online. Anyway, I don't mind. I'm 25. I was born and raised in North Carolina. I'm just in North Carolina.
Yeah, we can stick with North Carolina.
Born and raised in North Carolina. As far as like, we're going to talk a lot about ideas and philosophy on this podcast. I grew up as a Christian, going to church in a large non-denominational church here in North Carolina. And that was a big part of my life growing up. My faith really became my own. I don't like to use this language anymore, but you could say I got saved when I was, I suppose that would have been 14 at a Christian summer camp. I'm actually wearing the t-shirt now. From later, when I was a staff member, not when I was 14.
Okay, that makes more sense.
And that was really impactful for me. I went back to be a staff member there for years, grew up and continued to grow up here in North Carolina. I was in public school for elementary school, charter school for middle and high school, which was basically public school in my experience of the school I went to, which Will was at briefly. That's how we met.
Oh, yeah.
And then, so met Will there, met some other guys there who I'm still in touch with today. I wanted to be a youth pastor, so I left for college. I went to college at Wheaton College in Chicago. And after I studied there, I came... well, I had to come back down here because when I was finishing up my degree, it was COVID. And so I have a bachelor's in biblical and theological studies. That's a BA from Wheaton College. And near the end of my time there, I became Anglican. My ideas of theology and ministry and what it meant to live a good life changed a lot. So I stepped away from the ministry. I didn't quite feel prepared, nor did I feel like I had really a formed, I guess you could say, philosophy of ministry or a view of who I wanted to be. And I worked at a camp, Honey Rock camp up in Wisconsin, for about a year. I was there for 2 summers just a summer camp counselor, and then I was there for the year as a fellow with the Vanguard program, which is a gap year program for high schoolers who had just graduated. And so I helped to run that program. and then I was there for another year as a unit leader, so basically a counselor of counselors. I came back down to North Carolina, and I've been, just because it's home for me, and I've been doing odd jobs since then, basically. I'm a chaplain. No, I'm not a chaplain, but I work in a chaplain's department at a hospital now, as an administrator. Just keeping the office running, an admin assistant specifically. But I've done elder care when I was trying to get into healthcare, which was very difficult. A lot of respect for caregivers. Will's grandma was a caregiver. Shout out to her. I was a manager. After that, I was a manager at a Chick-fil-A. I was the assistant director of training at a Chick-fil-A, training up all the new employees who would come through the Chick-fil-A. And then I left that job to work at the hospital where I work now. So what's important to me, I guess, about what we're doing here is, my Christian faith is really important to me. At this point in my journey, I still worship at an Anglican church. I'm considering joining the Catholic Church. And that's kind of an ongoing discussion and thought process for me as of the recording of this podcast. And I love talking about ideas. I love talking about theology and God. It's something that's very personal to me. But it's also something that's changed a lot over time. And where I was at one point more interested just kind of theologically and like thinking and like theologically systematically and like defining terms and all that kind of stuff. I still respect that and I like that a lot, but it's a lot more about practical living and how I want to live my life nowadays. And so I'm interested in personal development. I'm interested in theology. I'm really excited to just kind of talk more with Will and just hang out together and have these on record, like I said. So yeah, the like theology and God's presence in my life have been just really impactful, and we can talk more about the ways that that's been for me. But I also love hearing about new ideas, different ways of belief, even though I strongly hold my own beliefs and convictions and believe them to be the truth. But we both care about truth, and I think that's why we're both here. Willingness to change.
Yeah. Well, I think that was really well said. I'm glad that I got to hear another account of that. It was kind of
Will's
kind of
heard
cool
my story like in parts and the very long versions, but not
not all together.
Yeah.
So that was kind of cool. I am going to quickly change positions because my leg is losing circulation.
Yeah, let's actually sit in sustainable positions.
Yeah. So we're still figuring out.
Should we maybe move this a little closer? Do you think it's okay there?
I think we're good here.
Okay.
I can always change it in post. But
fix it in post.
Yeah. So that was really that was awesome to hear. And so I guess I can go into a little bit about me now.
Who is Will?
So I have a very different upbringing. In fact, it'll be difficult for even me to kind of go back and recollect the pieces of my life into a coherent.
You don't have to share like a whole life story or anything.
Yeah, I can just kind of say. I
glossed over so much in my story. So.
I will say that around the age of 12 is when, so I guess even before that, I grew up in a household with primarily just my mom, and she studies, or not doesn't study, but she practices paganism, and she's kind of into that whole lifestyle, and I actually honestly don't know very much about
that
kind of stuff.
Would you call it Wicca, or would you call it pagan?
I think Wicca is probably the correct term for it.
Yeah.
I think Wicca is more actually like, I mean, I could be wrong about this, but maybe like an aesthetic version of the practice.
I don't really know.
But either way, that's kind of what she got into. But she never, she was always adamant about not forcing me into that kind of belief or those kind of practices. I was exposed to them very often, and sometimes I would even like take part in, helping her with her altar or stuff like that. But she was always very, I guess, non-strict to the idea of me just kind of finding my own way. And it's interesting because while that was happening, I was always surrounded by friends who believed in God. And this is like, I was much younger at the time, so I don't know if it would even be right to call them Christian, because I don't even know if at that age you can really fully grasp what being Christian is.
I personally would say that you could be a Christian at a younger age, but that could be a discussion.
Sure, yeah.
Later.
But so I would say, for all intents and purposes, Christian friends that believed in God, and I did too, actually. So I didn't go to church. I didn't really do anything that was religiously inspired, but I did believe that there was a God. I would talk to God in my room when I was alone, or who I thought was God, and I guess I would pray. There were times that I would like ask God for things and kind of have conversations for whatever reason. Maybe it was like therapeutic, or like out of loneliness or boredom or whatever it was. There was truly someone who I thought was conversing with me in that regard, and I think that did end around the age of 12, if I had to really pinpoint it. And I can't really think of a concrete reason why, other than just the fact that I started really questioning or not questioning, but really thinking about deep questions about life, and just wondering more about like the mysteries of the universe and that kind of stuff. And this is really when I started getting into my whole like science phase. Like I really want to learn more about space and the universe and physics and math. I got into coding around that time, which I still am adamantly involved in. And for me, it was just very satisfying to ponder these questions and to realize that, you know, even if you don't have a grand answer to something, the mystery itself is still just as like perplexing and beautiful and interesting. And so that kind of I think that's what sparked my more atheistic kind of side of reasoning or belief.
Like the mystery.
Yeah, and I would hesitate to use the word belief because atheism is actually not a belief system. I guess I will clarify this here because I think this will be the foundation for a lot of my reasoning in the future. But my stance currently is I would call myself an atheist, but I think it's important to realize that atheism is not a belief system. It's not a system that makes a claim. I think a lot of people kind of confuse the definition of the term, and for good reason, because there are a lot of atheists who will outright say, I believe there is no God, I have evidence there is no God, or blah blah blah. That's not my position. My position as an atheist is to just say, I don't know, I'm not convinced of any God, I don't see any evidence or convincing arguments that feel logically sound to demonstrate that there is a God. And that's not to say that there isn't. Because denial of something, or not denial, but rejection of a claim is not the same thing for advocating against the antithesis of that claim. So, that's kind of where I stand, and that's kind of where I've been ever since. I haven't really been practicing my atheism, I'll say, until maybe as of late. I'd say maybe actually during our like discussion 5 years ago is probably when I really started getting into it. So that was, again, like Chris said, that was something that really opened my eyes and that I learned a lot from, and I'm really glad that we got to have those discussions. So, yeah. I guess I'll also just throw out, I'm also 25, 6'3", male, North Carolina. I was born in New York. That's kind of interesting.
I didn't know Will was 6'3". I am 6'2". I feel a little small now.
It's all in, I just have a long neck. It's just all in the neck.
This is there's some background to this.
Yeah, I think I actually did get, okay, so just a quick aside.
Okay, no, you go ahead.
I just have to say this. There was one time, I think I was 4 years old, I went to the zoo with my mom, and I did get my head stuck in the railing on a bridge at the zoo, and I think that may have contributed to my extendo neck. because I'm pretty sure that my mom tried pulling me out of the fence. And like you're malleable at that age.
When
so
you're a kid, like your bone structure, like it can be
yeah. So
changed, I guess.
I think I got an inch on my height that day.
Nice.
So I just
So you're really 6'2", like me, but
yeah, I'm artificially 6'3".
Can I tell a story?
Yeah, go for it.
About the when we were at my gym.
Oh,
yeah. You talked to someone at the front desk.
I know what this is, but go ahead.
So I go to a gym. I haven't been in a little while. Full disclosure. We're all about authenticity here.
Transparency.
At the
coming soon
podcast.
Yes.
Which okay, I'll say that after. But like it
the gym thing.
Yes, the gym. Thank you. So we were at my gym, and Will was here visiting, and so he had like a guest pass for a week, and he's really into Brian Shaw, if I'm allowed to say that.
Oh yes, check him out.
And he's seen Brian Shaw in his YouTube videos do neck workouts.
Oh yeah,
right.
Shawstrength.com.
And so, not sponsored. And so Will, he goes up to the front desk. He's talking about neck workouts to me, all of our workout. And he goes up to the front desk person after we're done, who's just this girl who works at the front desk. He's like, I'm hoping to work out my neck when we come back tomorrow. Do you guys have any neck workout machines? Because I have a small neck. I really want to get a big neck.
I said that verbatim, I think.
Yeah, he said, I have a small neck, pointing to his neck, and said, I want to work out my neck. Or I think you said small or long neck. I think
I might have even said thick neck. I don't know.
Yeah, like I want to get a thick neck. And so we are cracking up. I was cracking up, and she would just look confused.
She was honestly kind of scared.
And she asked her coworker, who she said knew more about like the equipment, and the coworker told Will that maybe they might have neck workout machines upstairs in the physical therapy area, because the gym also does physical therapy. And so Will asked them if he could use the neck workout machines upstairs when we went back the next day.
Yeah.
And they said no.
I was severely lied to because and I'll just say this because I don't want to make this a point of contention, even though it kind of is for me. But I was told that I could use like the old people like cardio workout whatever upstairs, which I'm assuming is
I don't think he was told that. I think he was told that.
I was
explicitly... I think they said, I think we might have some upstairs. But
okay,
that's the extent of what they said.
Okay, well, maybe agree to disagree. But either way, I was promised that there was hope for a neck workout routine of some kind. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And not only nothing, but I was belittled in that moment because...
By whom? By me?
No, by the desk lady. Oh. She looked at me.
It was also by me.
I mean, yeah, there was belittling to go around for everyone.
There may have just been pops in the mic. I didn't want to kick it.
It's fine. Well, it's gonna probably be a prominent thing, but yeah. So that's why we haven't gone to the gym in 3 weeks.
We.
Yeah, I have not. I've done some push-ups in my room.
It's good.
But
well, it's been like over a month since we went to the gym together.
It has. Wow, that's been wow. Time really flies. That's not actually,
that was like what? Because it might have been 2 months since we went to the gym together. Honestly.
Yeah. Wow. I've just been sitting in my room, not really doing anything. I will say though, I just thought of this. Another thing I feel like would be a good talking point, like a topic for our podcast episodes later on, could be like mental health and physical fitness.
Absolutely.
Because that would be really fun.
Yeah. So I guess, but I mentioned authenticity, and I guess something I wanted to say, and maybe this could be like the end of our introductions. What are we looking at? Timestamp?
Yeah. We're at 25 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. So, like, 30 seconds. The thing that was most impactful for me about our conversations we had years ago, oh, my God, okay. I can't believe that, was that Will asked me at one point, like, he said to me, and he was kind of challenging me, because I was like advocating for the Christian position and why those on the call should become Christians who are not. And he asked me, he said, okay, so you're asking us to be open and willing to consider your point of view and adopt your point of view, which would mean like we would be accepting that we're wrong. It's something like that Will posed to me. And he said, do you reciprocate? Are you also open to like hearing our pleas for you to come to our side. I don't like thinking in those terms necessarily, but like,
yeah, I wouldn't say
but
that.
to put it very simply, I think in some ways that's kind of what was being said. And he said, you know, are you willing to reciprocate and be willing to consider our side and willing to quote unquote convert to our side? Again, this is really simplified terms, and that really stuck with me, and I sat with that for a long time and really had to think through like what that meant. And the question I sat with was, am I willing to be wrong? I guess. And really like sitting with that question and coming to terms with that and being willing to be wrong while also holding my conviction strongly. I suppose that's a bigger conversation. That's really, I guess, what sparked like that authenticity, I think, that at least I've felt in our conversations, and the willingness to share. Because for me, willing to share like really personal things about my own life, my own faith, my own practice of my faith, my own ideas, with Will, who does not share all of those necessarily, and vice versa, that's just been really impactful and really meaningful, I think. And so that's like the really what's a core value for me, and what I hope to come through on this podcast is just authenticity. That doesn't mean we're going to share everything about our lives and post it on the internet for everyone to see, but just like a raw authenticity about like what we believe, what are the doubts we have, what are the curiosities that we have, and like growing in that together, even if we might arrive at different conclusions, which would be mutually exclusive, but to still be friends through that has been really meaningful for me.
Yeah, and I just want to add on that and just say real quickly that obviously we will have different conclusions about different things, but I also think it's worth saying that I feel like most of our values actually do kind of align themselves with each other.
I would agree.
It's like how we arrive to those values, which is different, which I think is interesting.
And this is like discussions that we've had in the past. I think that maybe those values cannot be had except from a Christian perspective, but Will might differ.
Yeah.
And I think that Will does hold those values, which is why I think he's really a theist or something deep down in here, and he just doesn't know it yet. But maybe
the Jordan Peterson
but maybe
approach.
not. Well, we'll talk about it.
Yeah, that'll be a good conversation.